and yet somehow try and keep them alive. Canta with a couple more medics coming in to reinforce his medic and marine force. Saber now putting some Sunkens down, realizing that those siege tanks, and Canada's got a couple of siege tanks out. He's just waiting for that science vessel to make that killer push against Savior, and I just think Saber's going to struggle a lot to hold his defense against this. He does have that Queen's Nest up. He still doesn't have his hive though. Canta now pushing out, and Savior is just nowhere near getting the necessary tech. The only hope Savior has is if he can get a couple of Scourge out and maybe snipe that science vessel to delay Canada's push a little bit longer, but it is looking very desperate for Savior here, folks, and he's also forced to split up his lurker force at two fronts, although that does give him the opportunity to pincer Canta, but he doesn't really have the Zergling support to be able to do that. Trying to snipe one of those siege tanks en route. Canta doesn't have an SCV to repair it, and that does give Savior a little bit of hope to try and snipe them, but Canada's defended well with his medic and group. Now medic and group trying to catch Savior's lurkers as they come around. He snipes one of the lurkers. Again, great play by Canta. He's made very few mistakes in this game. Savior managed to get 3 of the Marines with his Mutalisks, just trying to whittle Canada's forces down as Canta sets up that siege outside of his natural expo. Savior now committing himself, pushing forward with the lurkers. Canta just waiting for that science vessel to arrive, and Savior, I don't think he's got a Scourge. He really needed those Scourges, but he's been forced to spend every last ounce of gas to get that tech up and running. Building the hive. Defiler's Den still nowhere near in the picture. The hive still not complete. Canta well with the siege tank sieged within range of the lurker. Savior coming in, sacrificing the Mutalist and the one lurker. Clever play by Savior. He takes out that one siege tank, and that's critical. Just buying himself that little bit more time, and this game is just going to come down to seconds for Savior. Canta pushing forward with the Marines carelessly, losing some of his Marines. That was a little bit careless by Canta. He really didn't need that. Now with the scan, Savior is going to try and pincer Canta coming in from the ridge, from the top, and try and cut off Canada's reinforcements. Now that science vessel in play, but Canta doesn't really have the siege tank. Savior has more than enough lurkers here, I feel, and Savior pushing forward once again with those lurkers. Canta with only the one siege tank. Canta coming in with the medic and Marines, and Savior looks like he just might be able to hold his defense. Second siege tank coming in to reinforce results on the group of Marines. Savior needs to bring those lurkers in from behind, but his lurkers are under siege. He's got more morphing, but he really needs to reinforce that, otherwise he's going to lose that line. Now Savior's taking the ridge behind Canada's forces, so Canta is not going to be able to reinforce his forces because Savior's taking the. Now Savior's going to try and pincer. This is going to be it. Suppose this is going to be here. If Savior can hold this, he might survive in this game. He might be able to have to get the Lefaros out. Savior's got the lurkers within range of the siege tank, but Savior's pulling the lurkers back. Careless by Savior, pulling the lurkers back, but he has got a surround on Canada's forces. Canada's going to lose all of his medic and Marines, and he's going to lose his attacking force. Savior's going to hold this defense just somehow. Canada's got D-Matrix on that siege tank. Savior with the lurkers in range. Only one Marine surviving. Savior's now coming with the Mutalist to clean up Canada's forces, and Savior's defense holds. Epic defense by Savior. Savior's defense holds. Canta tried to counter at the top with a group of medic and Marines, but Savior had the answer to that as well, and you've got to feel that Savior has a chance in this game now. He's got his 3 gas running. Canada's main force has been decimated. He hasn't been able to inflict any damage on Savior, and was Canta a little too tentative there? I'm not sure what he did wrong, but I guess Savior played very cleverly, just built up enough lurkers that he was able to absorb the damage, and now Savior is in a decent position to actually be able to win this game. Canta, though, with huge reinforcements moving out, now with vultures as well. Savior trying to go for the kill. Those vultures are going to get intercepted on the ridge. I don't think he's got spider mines yet. He hasn't placed them down. He's circling around the top, but Savior's defenses are away. Savior's building guardians, meanwhile, morphing those Mutalisks into guardians, but Savior in a little bit of trouble here because he doesn't have any defenses. All of his forces are at Canada's front door. He went for the counter, and now he's going to be forced to pull back. I think Savior a little bit too adventurous. And Savior doesn't have anything to defend against his group of medic and Marines pushing in, and Savior doesn't have lurkers, and Savior might lose this game here after having fought back so valiantly. Now trying to get a surround on those medic and Marine groups, and now coming in from the south, and this is really not a good position for Savior to be fighting. I don't think he has lurkers. Well, brilliance by Savior! Lurkers taking out a bunch of medic and Marines, and Canada's forces once again getting decimated. Savior is going to take this defense. Savior is going to take this. Absolute brilliance by Savior. This is the Savior of old, fighting with his back against the wall, with the gun against his forehead, and somehow fighting back. He's not won this game yet, folks, but he's fighting hard. Now Savior's going to be able to take that ridge back again. Spider Mine from Canta, but Savior, I don't think a Spider Mine did hit the one lurker. Those Spider Mines still on that ridge, but Savior's now got guardians at Canada's main. Canta pushing up, trying to keep the pressure up on Savior. This is an old school Zerg versus Terran, SK Terran style game, if we ever saw one, folks, but now Savior's got the Defiler in play, and he's almost got that Defiler within range of Canada's natural expo. Canta managing to get the Irradiate on the Defiler. Savior, meanwhile, is taking that expansion at what looks like the 11 o'clock base. Savior's Guardians continue to pound away at Canta soft underbelly. Canta now coming in with a counter at Savior's 1 o'clock expo. Savior has left that with scant defense. He doesn't have Defilers there. He does have a couple of lurkers, but Canada's going to take this expansion down, and this might be the winning move for Canta here. Savior managed to get a lurker down, but Canta with a medic and Marine group has come in and countered Savior from behind. Savior needs to hold this expansion. He needs to save those drones. He's pulling some forces around from the rear to circle around. Crucially for Savior, he hasn't gotten. Meanwhile, Savior focusing his attacks on Canta Kanada's front door, and I really think Xavier is being a little too aggressive in this game here. He needed to just hold his defense and expand, and he's lost that expansion. Xavier's lost his expansion, and I feel that Xavier has made a huge, gross tactical error here, and he's going to lose this game because of it. His Guardians are now getting taken down. He hasn't been able to inflict damage at Canada's base, and Xavier has now lost that 1 o'clock expo. I think he has built another expo at the 9 o'clock, at the 11 o'clock position, which is why perhaps he was happy to surrender that 1 o'clock expo, feeling that he'd still have the same number of expansions in play. But now he's in a little bit of trouble because Canada is circling around towards Xavier's main and his natural expo with that crack commando force, and Xavier doesn't have the forces to defend, and Xavier's focusing his attack at Canada's natural expo instead, and I think this is a huge mistake. He should be focusing on defending right now. Canada now coming in to Xavier's natural expo. Xavier with just the one lurker and a handful of Zerglings trying to take out those Marines. Xavier has got the Defiler there, but he's got no units to defend against. 4 Defilers popping out for Xavier. Horrible for Xavier. He's going to lose all of those Defilers, and that's going to be GG, guys. Xavier's going to be out. And Xavier with some poor tactical decisions. He turned the game around. He had a position to take the win, but he's made some poor tactical decisions, and it's going to cost him the game. He's got no Defilers. He's got Zerglings popping out. Now Kanada's coming in into his main. Xavier, meanwhile, has secured Kanada's national expo, but Kanada has got free reign with that one crack group in Xavier's base, and Kanada has, even though he's lost his national expo and lost his economy there, it's not going to bother him too much. He's just going to be able to roll Xavier down. Now Xavier's got the Zerglings in. This is crucial for Xavier that he manages to take those Marines down. He does take most of the Marines down, and he's taken all the Marines down. So Kanada doesn't have any more Marines, so Xavier's defense hold. He keeps his tech intact. He has got that expansion at the 1 o'clock base. Can he still pull this out somehow? Kanada with a siege tank and his main, but Xavier has prevented Kanada from mining his natural expo for some time, and he does have those 2 lurkers and Zerglings there. He's going to be forced to pull those lurkers back, and that expo is crucial. If Xavier can keep that expo alive, he has hope in this game, because he did keep his natural expo alive, and he did manage to pull his drones out. I'm not sure how many drones Kanada killed there, but this is a tight game here, folks. Xavier now with a group of Zerglings finds a hidden expansion of Kanada's at that just at the 7 o'clock position. Kanada now pushing out with a group of Firebats, and this is real low econ game for both these players right now. Xavier with that expansion had the slight advantage, and that expansion hidden. Now that expansion is exposed. Xavier coming in with the Scourges, taking out a couple of science vessels, trying to maneuver lurkers in play to defend that expansion. Meanwhile, Wraith continuing to hammer away at that expansion. That expansion is a long distance away from Xavier's main. It's going to be tough for Xavier to defend. Kanada coming in with the Vultures, using and in this sort of game where the Zerg is limited in the terms of units that he has, and if Xavier loses these drones, that's going to be it for Xavier. It's going to be GG, and Xavier's not able to get his reinforcements around. Kanada with a bunch of Firebats, and it's going to be GG here, guys. It is going to be GG. Xavier with a huge tactical error, and now he's going to lose this expansion, and I don't see how Xavier can possibly recover from it. Xavier trying to bring some Defilers in play. Xavier got us a brilliant plague on the science vessels, but he's lost all of the drones, and he's going to lose that expansion. And Kanada has got his expansion up. He's saved his natural expo. He's got another expansion up, and Xavier being too aggressive, guys, I feel. He had a chance to take this game. He's squandered it, and he's going to lose to Kanada, and he's going to go out of the MSL on the brunt of this one loss. And again, I lament the format, guys. But Xavier had his chances to win this game after his brilliant defense. He had a chance to win this game. He threw it away, and he's going to go out. He's going to go out of the MSL. I don't see him recovering now. I really don't. He had a chance. He threw it away. And disappointing for Xavier fans. Disappointing for me, but well played to Kanada. He continued to fight hard, and Xavier surely on the cusp now of going out of the MSL. Kanata, poker face as ever. Xavier losing another bunch of Zerglings to the Spider Mines, and really he just had to hold his defense there once he had the advantage and continue to expand, but he left his base vulnerable. Now he's retaking that expansion at the 11 o'clock base, but he doesn't have any drones there. He's just making sure that he finishes off Kanada's struggling forces, but now Kanada has built up a large science vessel fleet, and he's got a group of medical marine and siege tank that he's built up in his main, continuing to irradiate those Defilers. Xavier coming in with a bunches of Scourges, managed to take out some of Kanada's science vessels, but he's kept the majority of his force back. He doesn't have any siege tanks, so if Xavier can get those lurkers back, he still might be able to defend a little bit, but really he's got no economy to speak of. Kanada meanwhile rebuilding his economy and being able to irradiate it at will, and that is the power of SK Terran late game, but really it's Xavier's own fault for being over aggressive and leaving his 1 o'clock expansion vulnerable, so vulnerable, and allowing Kanada to free reign over it and take it, forcing, really insisting on trying to break down Kanada's front door when he didn't need to, I felt. And that is going to cost him the game. And he is going to be out of the MSL, folks. Xavier going out of the MSL right here, right now. This is Klazartsc, guys. Very disappointed. Well played by Kanada. Xavier, some flashes of genius, but in the end, letting himself down. Thanks for listening, guys. This is Klazartsc, and Xavier out of the MSL. Maybe he'll feature a little bit more in the Pro League now, and that's it for him this season. I don't think he's in the OSL either, so he's just gonna have to try and come back next season. This is Klazartsc, guys. Thanks for listening.
밀 생각을 했었던, 끝낼 생각을 했었던 고인규 선수가 병력을 흘리기 시작하면서 마재훈 선수에게 기회를 주었었죠.
네, 자, 어제 조지명 씨가 임했던 고인규 선수의 모습을 그려주신 것 같은데.
네.
자, 20분 05초 아니만이 있고 마지원 선수, 고인규 선수 치열한 줄다리 끝에 결국 승기는 고인규 선수가 넘어갔습니다만은 마지원 선수가 처음에 그 말씀하신 그 견제만 깜짝 병력에 다만 않았다면 이 얘기 또 몰라졌겠는데요.
그렇습니다. 뭐 중반 이후부터 이어지는 플레이가 마재훈 선수가 상당히 좋았어요. 집중해 있는 모습이었는데 그 초반에 앞마다 해처리 날아간 건 너무 극복하기가 너무나 어려운 상황이었습니다. 하지만 그래도 그 다음에 오는 고인규 선수의 병력을 잡아먹었을 때 그 움직임은 너무 좋았어요.